This year marks Australia's the most important period of the national commemoration, the century of Anzac. On this day we honor all the men and women who have participated in the wars, conflicts or peacekeeping operations around the world. And this year, the century of Anzac continues by another important date in the world's history, the 70 years since the end of the Second World War. These days of commemoration are the great opportunity to the families and communities to come together in every city and town in Australia and to say thank you to the veterans and those who lost their lives in the war. Usually, during weekdays, you do not often see the Australian servicemen in the city streets. Especially the veterans from other countries, you will not find them too often. However, in late April, on the 25th day, you not only can see the columns of war veterans, but their children and grandchildren as well. Every year, about 12,000 people participate in the Anzac Day parade. Thousands of spectators greet them with their applause. The Russian convoy of the Second World War veterans also participates, and their children and grandchildren carrying their awards and photos, reminding everyone of the terrible events that our fathers and mothers had to go through.
Сегодня мы пришли почтить память нашего прадедушки Беляева Федора Ефимовича, который был участником Второй мировой войны. В первые же дни войны он был призван защищать Севастополь.
Celebrations of the end of the Second World War in Australia is a good tradition that brings together the representatives of different generations and lets the members of various Sydney communities feel like one community. This year, over 300 Russian veterans of the Second World War were awarded with anniversary medals. Many veterans remembered which medal was the most special.
Все награды близкие. Нет таких наград, которые не являются близкими. Все они завоеваны или трудом, или боевые заслуги.
Вы себе не представляете, дожить до такого праздника – это огромное счастье. Ведь это он достался нам очень и очень тяжело.
Throughout the world, countries are commemorating these great events. Whether it be the centenary of Anzac or the Second World War, we must remain focused on the fact that it's only 30 years before we commemorate 100 years since the Second World War. And those men and women that fought, gave their lives, and those that are still with us must know that we will never forget them. We will always remember their service.
The ceremony, dedicated to the end of the Second World War, continued at the Waverley Park on the 9th of May. This is already an established tradition to gather at the monument of the fallen soldiers in order to lay flowers to the victors.
I'm honoured to be here on behalf of the New South Wales State Government as we remember those sacrifices made by so many in the struggle against Nazi Germany and its allies. Over 25 million people gave their lives over the course of that war, and today we remember their sacrifice so that we, here in Sydney, Australia, across the free world, may enjoy freedom, peace, and a way of life that builds community and provides a safe environment for our families.
Since the end of World War II, we've borne witness to a worldwide effort to avoid the prevalence of warfare. The United Nations was established as a commitment by all nations to maintaining peace and security, developing friendly relations amongst nations, and promoting social progress, better living standards, and human rights.
Veterans, relatives of the veterans, representatives of the Russian and the Australian authorities and ethnic communities gathered near the monument tablet erected in the memory of soldiers who gave their lives in the war.
As we are today honoring and giving tribute to the veterans, we also pray for those that have perished, the soldiers fighting the war, and other victims of the Nazi regime.
I grew up regularly being told the stories by my grandparents of their liberation, and they always spoke with incredible gratitude towards the Russian soldiers, their bravery, and how they allowed my grandparents to survive. They came out of hiding as a result of this liberation. They came to Australia, and I'm here today because of this bravery.
Later on the day, the commemoration ceremony moved to Bondi Beach, where mostly young people of different nationalities came together to remember and reflect on the achievements and values of the war generation, so that their example of courage, shared sacrifice, can-do attitude, service to others, and national unity will continue to inspire future generations.